It's quite the place you got here.
Gretchen, what's the matter?
Why did you bring us here?
Your parents are planning
a new resort, I know.
A few weeks ago, we talked about Justine Triette's Anatomy of a Fall, and the fact that Sandra Hüller's character was in the liminal space of speaking English and French, while also being a native German speaker, all three languages coming up throughout the film. Well, it's time for another English, French, German language film, the 2024 folk horror / creature feature film, Cuckoo, by German writer-director Tilman Singer.
And then the woman went into that weird pink bungalow. I wasn't going in there.
That pink bungalow is called the Lover's Nest.
This is only Singer's second film after his first supernatural horror film, Lieu. Both his directorial debut and college thesis film for the Academy of Media Arts in Cologne, debuted in 2018 at the Berlin International Film Festival to wide acclaim. An homage to 1980s European horror films, Lieu is a taxi driver who gets into a car accident and then must flee from a possessed woman, an ancient demon who wants to hunt her down. Inspired by Zawalski's Possession, of course, it was hailed as taking demonic possession subgenre in a more modern and fresh direction.
What difficulties did you have to face to get a second movie done?
Well, we did do a pandemic while we tried to finance it, and it's true, it's hard to make a second film. Well, I don't know. I'm in a weird spot because my first film was it grew out of art school, so it was a student film, right? So it wasn't really like a movie out in the open. So this was kind of my first movie out in the real world. But I think like what's hardest is that when you're starting, then you just have to wait so long. Like you need a lot of stamina, you know? Like, cause you need a lot of stamina and you have to keep on believing in the idea that you had, and you have to sort of like shelve the idea because you're always waiting for momentum, like, I don't know, getting a producer, a financier, something like that, right? And then once the momentum is good, then you have to like take the idea back from the shelf, dust it off, right? And like be ready to like still believe in this. And that's pretty hard. I think the waiting is the hardest.
Can imagine.
So much has happened since 2018 in the world. Cuckoo was announced in August 2021, with Tilman Singer working with Neon, which had bought the distribution rights to Lieu, and would both finance and distribute Cuckoo. When Cuckoo was first announced, Hunter Schafer was attached, along with John Malkovich, Gemma Chan, and Sofia Boutella. However, a year later, Neon announced that John Malkovich and Gemma Chan both had to drop out because of scheduling confusion, and instead it would star Dan Stevens, who starred in Neon's very first film Colossal in 2016, Jessica Henwick, Marton Csokas, and Greta Fernandez. At the time Hunter Schafer was first cast in 2021, she'd only really been in Euphoria and was not yet a movie actress. By the time Cuckoo came out in 2024, she had starred in The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and was about to appear in Yorgos Lanthimos' Kinds of Kindness.
You're here because your family belongs here.
That's a fucking weird way to put it.
Cuckoo, unlike Lieu, is somewhat hard to categorize as a horror film. I think I'd call it like folk horror more than any other subgenre. Hunter Schafer stars as Gretchen, a 17-year-old American girl who is forced to move to the remote German Alps with her father and his new wife and daughter, after her mother suddenly passes away, throwing her life into complete chaos. Her father and stepmother are staying at a resort owned by a creepy and sinister rich German hotel and resort owner, Herr Koenig, played by Dan Stevens. Koenig has hired them to design his second resort after Gretchen's dad and his wife Beth had originally met there in the Alps 8 years before. They now have a mute daughter who appears to have some problems functioning, which Gretchen blames on vanishing twin syndrome because Alma absorbed her twin in the womb. For Gretchen in a new country, a deeply remote and isolated place at that, things start going badly immediately, with her dad having no real plan to have his daughter come to the Alps. And strange occurrences, people vomiting at the hotel, Alma suddenly getting epilepsy, and the appearance of a strange and violent woman apparition who appears at the worst times, push Gretchen more and more over the edge. The folk horror thematics, without completely spoiling it, are inspired by the cuckoo bird's brood parasitism. Cuckoo bird will lay their eggs in the nest of another bird, who then take care of the egg, believing it to be their offspring until a cuckoo bird hatches instead. Sometimes the cuckoo will push the other bird's eggs out of the nest, or the baby cuckoo will cannibalize the other chicks. Herr Koenig is obsessed with furthering human evolution by creating a human cuckoo hybrid, and eventually a whole race of creatures born from a human womb but not human. However, most of the movie is spent getting to that reveal, purposely unsettling us and becoming more and more sinister. Like Gretchen stranded in the Alps, or the bird pushed out of the nest to make way for a brood parasite, we as an audience are constantly thrown out of our comfort zone, and the movie revels in ensuring lost footing. My biggest criticism of this movie is that I think throwing all of that at us leads us to a very uneven situation where the cuckoo-human hybrid part of it is actually pretty rushed. But Hunter Schafer is incredible in this movie and very versatile, while Dan Stevens flips between German and English in a role where you honestly forget that's who it is at times, and he's British in real life. Herr Koenig is an extremely sinister and eerie character, and one that not everyone Dan Stevens' age or build could have pulled off. Not because he's German, but because it was originally going to be a 6-year-old madman played by John Malkovich.
If I were you, I would stay home until my body was done growing back those cells. I wouldn't want to get hurt even more. As if I was stuck in a loop.
There's an overstuffed amount of thematic ideas and premises, I think, but the alienation from loss, especially the loss of a mother figure, permeates through the film and is often legitimately heartfelt and sad to watch. But part of adulthood, losing your parent and becoming your own parental figure, basically, also makes it a coming-of-age folk horror film. Neon works in collaboration with Ken Cow and Josh Rosenbaum's Waypoint Entertainment. They had first produced Yorgos Lanthimos' The Favorite in 2018, and Waypoint Entertainment would enjoy working with Neon so much they'd enter into a slate deal, which led to their collaboration on Oz Perkins' Longlegs and a new imprint, Feature Feature. Longlegs came together quickly in 2023, but actually ended up out a month before Cuckoo. With the viral guerrilla marketing campaign that cost as much as the movie, although both the movie and viral marketing campaign were actually under $20 million put together, Cuckoo did not get the same marketing rollout by Neon. In a co-production with Germany, Tilman Singer got financing from Marcus Halberschmidt and Maria Tzika, who founded Fiction Park in Dusseldorf in 2017. Cuckoo was shot in the North Rhine-Westphalia region, so it's not in the Alps, unfortunately. From May to July 2022, a 35-day shoot with 2 reshoot days. Unlike his debut, which was shot on 16mm to give it this surrealistic feel, Cuckoo is all digital. Just kidding, that would have been sad. Cuckoo was shot on 35mm, which gave it a bright, saturated look. Paul Faltz, the DP on both Cuckoo and Lieu, said that he enjoys creating well-lit, unnervingly bright horror films. The idea that not everything is hiding in the shadows in a horror film, it can also be really scary if it's really bright and this neon pops everywhere. Faltz and Singer also tried to do practical effects whenever they could. The shaking when the creature screeches is sometimes in camera, but sometimes they had to do the in-camera effect recreated in VFX. Faltz and Singer also tried to do practical effects whenever they could. The shaking when the creature screeches is sometimes in camera, but sometimes the in-camera effect was recreated in VFX software. They also did real shadow work to get the creature's shadows. In the end, Cuckoo cost $7 million, less even than Longlegs. It debuted at the Berlin International Film Festival in February 2024, meant for a May 2024 release, which would have put it 2 months ahead of Longlegs. It eventually got pushed back to August 9th in the US, 23rd in the UK, and August 29th, 2024, my 30th birthday, in Germany.
And are you, right now, in this moment, are you putting your slashed skin back together yourself?
Before I introduce the panel, please like this video and subscribe to the Movie Night Extravaganza YouTube channel. Then hit that bell to get notified whenever we're streaming. Super chats are now open. If you have any pressing questions, send us a super chat, which helps me maintain the expenses for the show, which I am obligated by the rules of the Geneva Convention to stop everything and ask the panel. Another way to help us out is to become a patron and give us money every month. In exchange, you get access to all of our after parties, bonus content, and we'll tell you even more movies we watched recently. Patreon.com/Movie Night Extra. We have a Movie Night Extravaganza Discord. There's an invite link in the episode description, and we have a Letterboxd HQ account. So those are 2 more places to follow along with us. Okay, let me introduce the illustrious panel. Conan Neutron is the host of Protonic Reversal, co-host of Movie Night Extravaganza, and the frontman for the band Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends. You can check out his music and hopefully buy some at neutronfriends.bandcamp.com. Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends' latest album, The Way of the Neutron, is available on Bandcamp. Order it today. Christina Oakes is a co-host of Movie Night Extravaganza and a Twitch streamer. You can find her streaming at twitch.tv/Cosmopolitics. All of her social media accounts are also at Cosmopolitics. She's on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky, and even occasionally on Letterboxd. Philip Marinello is the host of the Substance Podcast, Seeking Goodness, Truth, and Beauty. I, of course, am your cuckoo human hybrid host, Forrest Miller. No, babe, I swear, those are totally your eggs.
I get it. I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Those are totally your eggs. I had the line reading in there when I was talking about the doing the cuckoo scream that I accidentally put in there twice, I guess. But it made it look like it got affected by the cuckoo stream and had to keep repeating.
Oh, got it. So like a kind of Gremlins 2 sort of vibe.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Phil, welcome to the show, man. It's good to have you.
Thanks for having me, guys. Can you hear me? Am I good?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm good.
We've been talking about doing this one since I think September or something, right? And like
it out,
it was not available thanks to Long Legs.
But you feel like the Long Legs
Letterboxd review.
Long Legs kind of cuckoo because this movie was like first, and then they kind of snuck that in the middle of it, and that got all the attention and the by the same producers too.
Nicolas Cage's makeup, like, this is the scariest someone's ever been in a movie, and it's just
basically
they
raised the offspring of Long Legs, and they pushed Cuckoo out of the nest.
Man, whoever did the Long Legs like press run really does need to get a special award. That was something.
Yeah, the Oscar for like promo campaign goes to.
And then to watch it, Hunter Shaver and Dan Stevens do like questionnaires that are just only being shared on Instagram, and it's like.
This movie rocks. I'm gonna put my cards on the table at the top. This movie rocks, and it did not get very good press at all. Like it's so weird what they like. I feel like this is a weirdo movie, so I don't think it's gonna make Long Legs money. But like, people would have known about it.
It's like A24 and Neon have this thing where they have 2 movies that come out around the same time, and they're just gonna push for one to be like an awards contender, have great marketing when the film releases, and it's like you guys are the future of film, and you're doing the thing that big studios tend to do still. Like,
but they have a single track mind. They abandoned Sing Sing in favor of The Brutalists when they it's out winning awards. Like it's just like it's weird that they do this. By the way, want to say I'm glad we got it out of the gate, just like Long Legs disparagement, like out of the gate. That's good. Good to get it out of the way.
If you ever want me on for Long Legs disparagement corner for 5-10 minutes, you got my number, Colin.
I mean, I appreciate that because
it has
for a while,
incredible like first half hour, but man,
for sure.
What a wild.
The monkey is so much better.
I thought it was me and KT were the only people that hated that movie, and to be clear, I hated it. Like I don't write a lot of negative reviews.
Strong.
I definitely
was really annoyed by the gap between the promises of the campaign and the final product did make me very upset.
It was so deeply unoriginal to me too, and the fact that I was like, I can sum up this movie, but it was naming a few other movies, and that's the opposite of this movie, which is, other than, I think you hit something, Phil, I saw you say, like, kind of like European style, and there is a kind of Argento-ness to it, of just like
totally
the vibe, right?
Well, so
They
my
gave me
first
that vibe,
review,
yeah.
the only thing that I really put it in, and it's not at all in like this movie is like this, but I kind of put it in the category. I've had a few conversations with people and have gotten some light agreement. I'll float this out there. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, where it just befuddles people and then eventually grows on you over time just because of the weirdo swings.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense.
Probably the best Halloween sequel after Halloween 2, by the way.
Zombies Halloween 2?
It's okay, Mort. A lot of people like long legs. I'm just
totally.
I'm just saying. I didn't. I was
and
not
good
one
for
of
them,
those.
box office wise.
Great.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is interesting because also it's like, Tilman Singer's second movie. His first one was like his thesis film. He
need
like,
to see that still.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I almost fired it up on Shudder, but I didn't have enough time.
Yeah, I was gonna do the same thing, and then I didn't get around to it.
Because Forrest likes to do deep dives and watch other movies from the same director.
Yeah, when it's someone that's only done like 2 movies, that's like when we
but Coralie,
Coralie with
his
with the substance
movie,
and
first movie was basically
the one I haven't seen.
It wasn't like a parody, but it was like it was like an homage to all of these different possession movies, including like the biggest one obviously being Possession. So a lot of people were really into it.
Made sure that movie was a big mistake.
But like a lot of people were like, oh, this is kind of, but like in Europe, you know what I mean? We're like, oh, this is a lot like Possession. You kind of did something more interesting with that. And then this movie, Neon kind of picked him up as like, look, we want to do whatever your next project is. We're willing to we're willing to produce it, just like, and they bought the distribution for his first project. So they were kind of in this partnership with him, which maybe they think they're already kind of doing him a favor by, promoting his career. So they're like, oh, well, we're not going to give you long legs. Yeah, we're not going to give you long legs money. You know what I mean? But like, it was this interesting, it was interesting that they automatically jumped onto the financing, like whatever you want to make next. But then it took 3 years to make it because he started it in 2021. Wrote it,
which is crazy. Can I say, when we did Possession with Renee, I was like, this is the nichiest movie they ever niche. And I love it. I love Zalowski. I'm a big On the Silver Globe fan too. And then that episode freaking blew up. And then Pattinson's talking about remaking it. It's like everyone's talking about Possession.
What did you guys do? Because I was not. See, this would not have happened if I had managed to get part of that episode. You know why? I would have put a stop to that. Because now you see all the cinema. Twitter posting the miscarriage scene and
all the Isabella Johnny fan accounts.
There. I think it was just not available for so long, and then the 4K came out, and people just kind of discovered it.
I mean, or we caused it directly. One of the two.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, look at the first Omen.
Of course.
The first Omen going into labor scene was inspired by the miscarriage scene, and I got to give credit to the actress from that movie. She did a phenomenal job because that's doing that type of thing is not easy to do. That's a very physical.
Sure.
Well, you also Lily Rose Depp's entire performance.
Nosferatu,
I feel like a lot of directors and actors, were very inspired by Possession, and then the more they talk about it, the more other people are like,
let's pay homage.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of what you hope for, right? Yeah. Especially if you have like cult, and like I love Zalowski, but I mean he is like definitionally a cult filmmaker. I mean, On the Silver Globe,
even if it's 50 years too late, or 50 years later than the next movie comes out.
Like On the Silver Globe was if he had not been shut down by his own government, could have been like a Star Wars style contender pre-Star Wars, but it got like a weird like half release later on, and even then it was one of those things where you had to be like a cinephile to know about it. Henceforth, why I know about it. But anyway,
and now it's everywhere.
But yeah, now it's like Possession, especially like it's kind of cool to see that because people are like, whoa, Sam Neill when he's like 20 and he's going ape shit and like somehow not the craziest thing even in the
and he's not chasing dinosaurs.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
But I think that's so that coming back to Cuckoo.
I'm Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, by the way.
I think that those just kind of Eastern Bloc vibes are like way there.
Yeah.
Which is to say, and that's a totally different kind of horror than like, Peace and Love in My Heart. I love them, like Phantasm or Evil Dead or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Which is uniquely American, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's
I don't
also
know what Phantasm was. We recently watched a bunch of those for Bat and
Oh yeah,
Spider.
you like me.
I feel like those are European adjacent. That's not just a normal.
Phantasm movies are awesome.
Well, they
but
are
and
American,
deeply
I
weird,
guess,
but they're very
odd.
American.
They are
And-
very
and-
odd.
And that's very mainstream though. Like this very subgenre of like European horror is not well known in America. So when
You're right. And Hunter Schafer is kind of the big selling point. It's just like, because that's the only
Yeah.
thing. And then like,
Us
and-
I
Euphoria
didn't
fans.
realize. I had no idea.
This was technically her first movie.
I
Yeah.
looked at
oh wow,
her Instagram. I've never seen Euphoria, and I was like, oh, I bet she's got like almost 7 million followers. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I guess that's what sold the movie.
So her first thing that she ever did, like she was a model, but the first thing she ever did as an actress was Euphoria. So
Yeah.
and then she got
Euphoria
cast
mentioned.
but
Yeah,
she
and
got
sh-
cast
and-
in this as her first movie.
Yeah,
but then by
and-
the time it came out, she had already been in The Hunger Games. She had already been in. She was about to be in Kinds of Kindness like 2 months later. So it's like this weird thing where because of how long this
She
movie
was
took
hitting
to
it.
actually, yeah,
Hitting that zeitgeist. But also, too, one of the main things that made Hunter Schafer very popular in Euphoria is she's transgender. And she's never had bottom surgery. So there's a scene of her and Zendaya in bed. And, they're both like in their underwear. And everyone's like, oh my God, this is like a big moment. As someone that doesn't have bottom surgery. Because a lot of people don't know Hunter Schafer is trans. And I'm like, okay, but she makes it a big stink considering what's been going on in this administration. But she's gorgeous. I understand why she was a model before she can act, but she is a phenomenal actress. Like she's really hitting the zeitgeist right now. It's one of the like her, Sydney Sweeney, and Zendaya, and Jacob Elordi, the only like actors from Euphoria who have worked in film now. Like it's crazy.
And several of them, had popped. I've never
like
seen it. It looks kind of like misery porn. Like maybe it's very good.
It looks like Gen Z's Skins, and I was like, okay,
right.
I watched Skins when I was a teenager. I don't need to watch your guys' generation Skin, like fentanyl generation.
The showrunner does seem like a little bit of a creep. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's good.
I don't know.
Philip, Christina is forever trying to get me to watch Euphoria because I still have never seen it, even though it's mentioned on this show.
It'll
like,
be there
a
one
various amount
day.
of times. Yeah,
It'll be there one
But
day.
also too, I will say one little tangent about Skins is that Skins actually audition people who were not actors. Like that's where Nicholas Hoult got a start on. Like they actually, the thing about the UK is they will find people who are not experienced actors, and most UK
dramas, the experienced actors, a lot of them go over to Hollywood to succeed.
Yeah,
just
and
said,
also too, like
Euphoria
a lot
was
of them.
Hunter Schafer's first role, right? Like she was.
Yeah,
it was her first. Her first like big role. Well, and it's interesting too because I didn't really know who the hell she was, frankly.
Yeah,
but I saw her in Kinds of Kindness, which we covered, of course. And,
she should be Zelda. Everyone says she's the perfect cast for Zelda.
Ooh.
And speaking,
I don't
of
think they should make that
films,
movie, but that would be cool.
Yeah,
Dan
she does.
Stevens'
She looks
first
very
film.
elfin. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Dan Stevens' first film is a German film called Hilda. And he learned all of German. When he did the press in Germany, he spoke strictly in German. So a lot of people are like, "What's Dan Stevens' first film?" I'm like, it's actually a German film where he does all German. He didn't.
When he was in
I'm
Your Man.
Yeah, that was
Jinx,
a good one.
Because which only gets ever brought up on this show, but it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that one at all.
It's a good. Well, we did a month of themes that was movie night automata. So it was like AI and like lifelike androids and robots, et cetera, and like it almost made the cut, but we had too much.
He's been in
stuff to cover.
50 films apparently.
Yeah,
jeez.
Well, I know him from Legion. The Noah Hawley.
That's where.
Yeah, which is
Downton
great.
Abbey too, but everyone's so mad he got killed off in season 3. I'm like, get over it. Downton Abbey's over, okay? He's playing weird dudes now. It's fine. Like, leave him alone.
Yeah, I think the other thing with Euphoria and Hunter Schafer, which I haven't seen, like I really just was like, this seems like a show that I've already watched, but for the next generation of kids. So I didn't bother to watch it, but she's also like an executive producer on it and like has written episodes for it. So she got really fully into the whole Euphoria thing, and I think that kind of raised her profile as kind of like the face of that show.
Yeah, her makeup looks, because Euphoria is known for very unique, stylistic makeup, like avant-garde makeup looks, and a lot of her character Jules' makeup looks would go viral on TikTok, and people would recreate the look.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a TikTok ad show.
Yeah.
But like,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
By the time this movie came out, though, right? So Euphoria starts in 2019. She gets cast in this in 2021, but it takes so long to make it that the Hunger Games movie comes out in 2023. You know, so she already has her.
She's in one of those too. I've only seen the first one.
Yeah, I saw. I think the first two.
She's the one with Rachel Zegler, and so you got two.
Which one of my friends was like, "That's chaos mode. To only watch the first one." I was like, I didn't read the books. I didn't know anything about it. It's like, oh, they like Battle Royale.
Potter, but
I've read all the books. Watched the first two movies, but then after that, I was like, I don't care what happens.
Hunger Games.
Yeah.
I've not read the last book or seen the last movie because I was like, the story starts off really good, and then I was like, I'm pretty positive there's no way that they could wrap this up in a way that I would find satisfactory. Like, it's a cool premise. They started it well, but I was like, I'm just using my story brain. I looked in the future. I was like, any of the 2 or 3 different endings that this could have, I don't think I like any of those.
Oh, it's a pretty unsatisfying ending.
But I'll maybe check out the new one, the Songbird one, at some point.
It's got Rachel Zegler in it, so that's a sell for me.
I was getting hard sold this weekend about watching them because I remember who I was talking to. Like, I can't believe you only seen the first one. That's so chaotic of you. I'm like, I wasn't doing it intentionally. I just didn't see them. I missed me. And I was the only person there to be like, oh, whoever made this movie really likes Battle Royale, because this was like the first movie, right? And I was like, oh, this is like a whole very popular thing that I was just unaware of. Whoops, my bad.
I like the book.
I was in high school when it peaked, so
I liked the books. Not really the ending of it, but I liked the first 2 books. It just like the movies. I'm just like, I don't know. Like, you have a certain picture of everything in your brain, and it's like, do I really need to see a movie based on a series of books? Like, I always pretty much give up after the first couple because I'm like,
so do the studios. It's okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, speaking of studios, speaking of Cuckoo,
yeah, welcome to our Hunger Games episode, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. 26 minutes in. Maybe we should get back to the topic. This is a hard movie to market, I feel like, because I feel like in order to really get into like why you should watch it, it's kind of, you risk spoilers, right? And like, it's sort of like one of the coolest thing is like, what the hell is going on? Like, trying to figure that out, because it creates a great vibe. It's a great vibe, and that goes back to the European thing, because I think, and we've talked about this when we've covered modern horror movies, that there's a certain kind of lane that most American horror movies seem to be going down right now, and it's not this. Yeah. So it's a little bit of an outlier in that way.
Meta, very meta, no original concept. Right. That's like we're happy to see films like Nosferatu, Sinners, because it's like, yeah, gothic horror, southern horror, vampire movies are cool again.
Have you guys covered or will you cover Sinners?
Friday. We're doing it Friday.
It rules.
I actually agreed to do another show just so we could do Sinners. That's how much I like it.
Get in that zeitgeist, baby. You know what, boy? If you don't get the fuck out of my face right now, Conan, I swear to God.
So excited about that. That's very confrontational of you. I think that, but like this is one of those movies. Like I feel like it's, in a way, it's kind of similar to Barbarian, which was invoked.
Also rules.
That's a good.
Which I also loved. And it's unorthodox, but like, to explain why it's great, you have to give away like one of the key things that you know, being seated in a theater or even just watching it at home makes it wonderful. Yeah, exactly. That's in the title. But I think that it's hard when you have a movie that relies on kind of an upturning of expectations to kind of advocate for it without spoiling it. That's difficult. That's difficult.
I feel like this one's so weird. You could just kind of just go see the movie. Like, it's about a girl who like gets her life upended and things get weird.
She plays bass, which I would have been in immediately. Dan Stevens is a beautiful little weirdo. That would have been in. For
I do love weirdo Dan Stevens. Like that.
Crushing that role. There's even articles about that. Like, look at Dan Stevens in all these weird roles.
I really like
the reluctant leading man is what they call him now.
Yeah, totally.
Wikipedia page or something. When you look up, like, you know, it's like languages. Like, it talks about, like, you know, German. It's like he's said to have a very nice British German accent or something. And I was like, that's a really like funny way of putting it in someone's Wikipedia article. Like, people have said that his accent is very nice, and it's like, it is. It definitely is. He went to some boarding school or something where he picked up that accent.
Well, and he's definitely become like one of the great character actors of genre films of the past like 10 years, I think.
Yeah, whenever
like,
I see he's in something, I'm like, yes.
I'm in.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Say less.
I mean,
I'm already
we've
watching.
interacted on social media in the past, so I'm like, I love you, dude.
Really wish they hadn't have spoiled Abigail, but he was a great little weirdo in that.
Yeah.
With that
he was
Queen's
probably
accent.
My favorite. That's right.
Sammy, those are fucking onions.
And they said that they're supposed to be. I mean, the word on the street is that it's maybe been spoiled, but potentially we're getting a guest sequel soon.
Oh, they always tease that every April Fools. But he's working with Adam Wingard, who's done The Guest. He's done like the Godzilla
He did
movie.
the
And
Godzilla
another
ones.
movie. And he's doing another one called Onslaught that's coming out.
I think that is the one that they're saying may or may not be a low key. The Guest.
He's gonna have to get in the shade, get his fake tan. It's gonna be great.
So, pivoting away from Christina's boyfriend Dan Stevens, I think Hunter Schafer's look in this is like great. Like that's a great poster. It's the background
the
for
poster.
The
Very rebellious look, almost like
it's a
like
great
rebel lead.
Yeah, like it's like I think that is a key factor for kind of inviting people in of like, oh, who's that? And it's like, even if you're just like, oh, baby, that's the final girl. She looks cool, you know, like, whatever.
By the end of it, they turn her into kind of, I mean, her look is like, like a female Rambo, like
very Rambo. Yeah.
She has the, I mean, around.
Like,
it's not the band, but she's bleeding from
bandaged. Yeah.
But like she's bandaged. She kind of has that. She's like fucked up or whatever. Like she's got perfect like action hero at the end of the movie.
And when the end credits thank the brave fighter of the Moa Jean, you know, that was great. No, but I think that works, and it plays to the strengths of like. I mean, I didn't know Hunter Schafer really at all. Like, I think I saw the kind of small role she played in Kinds of Kindness first, but yeah, I'd heard the name, and I was like, who's that?
Which I wonder if the fact that, you know, the two producers that signed on for this and now have like they have a creature feature like whatever imprint that's going to make more movies with Neon. So I wonder what that's going to do. But they were also the ones that produced The Favorite with Yorgos Lanthimos', you know, like that movie.
Was the first Yorgos film I saw. I saw it in the theater and I was like, this guy's going places.
And so I wonder if they connected her for Kinds of Kindness with Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
and then they jumped to the Long Legs bandwagon.
Yeah, of course they did, like everyone else. Yeah.
It's like, how dare you put prop up this actress only to be like not promote her movie? What the fuck?
Well, and they didn't just not promote it; they like buried like the streaming release. They buried like the on demand for a while, and then when they did, they didn't even tell anybody. You had to like discover it like hidden in like the sub basement somewhere.
I think literally like Dan Stevens and Hunter Schafer's social media accounts were the only ones promoting it.
And they promoted the fuck out of it though.
They did. To be
fair, they really did.
Because it's a good movie.
Yeah, they have great chemistry together when they would do like their like quizzing each other like segments.
Yeah, that was good.
It was so good. I'm like, man.
They did one of those like letterboxed 4 favorites things I watched.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
like,
nice.
Yeah.
Hey, their taste I was shocked about their picks. I was like, damn, cinephiles, let's go.
Well, Dan Stevens seems like a filmmaker's actor. Like
he seems like he's angling for like the new Willem Dafoe kind of like
ooh, I like that.
Ooh,
I think that is. I think that may be right on. I like that.
That
and he's doing a good job of it too. I mean like
when you see like what he looks like
a year, that's what it is. Like you don't hear about him for like a year, and then like I have 4 movies coming out.
Drops 3 movies 1 week, exactly. Yeah.
True. I'm like, whoa. Well, I'm like, where have you been, dude? Like, slow down. I gotta get
He's like, slow down. This is the first message I've gotten from you in 6 months.
Are you in his DM saying this? Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was actually. I warned him about fake. I warned him about fake accounts impersonating him, and then he posted on stories and like, these are not me. And I'm like, I did that, and then he shut off messages on Instagram after that. He did. I was like,
okay, now I like him more.
Yeah,
that's kind of a power move. Not gonna lie.
I get it. Leave me alone. I got this. Like.
Now Christina has to show up at his house because she can't.
Right. Exactly.
Go to Brooklyn because that's where he lives.
All these thirsty teenagers have you on a dartboard.
Yeah, they didn't realize.
But no, I don't know another actor that could have taken up the mantle from like a movie that was going like written for John Malkovich. And of course, you know,
who is the previous generation's freaky little weirdo.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
and
that's
like
they did a great job of it.
Yeah,
but like, it is weird, to think about like this is meant to be an older person
because the cycle at the beginning. So getting into the movie, the opening sequence, the first time you see it, maybe even the second time, pretty disorienting. You're like, where are we? What does this have to do with anything? Like that. Ostensibly, the idea is that he placed that girl, like he orchestrated the Cuckoo situation for that girl in that home, and she's like what, like a high up teenager, like ready to kind of become an adult. So like however old Dan Stevens was, he was there back when she was born, and like that wasn't his first one. But also he's such a little weirdo. The movie's on its own vibe that I've seen it now a handful of times. And even now thinking about that, like I don't really question it. Like it works perfectly, even though the things that would have had to happen in the world, like he would need to be much older than he is. I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah, but also too, you might need someone younger, good looking, charming, charismatic to convince people, hey, come up into my isolated retreat. But also there are like weird things that go bump in the night, so don't be outside. Like, you know, like
and the first, I mean, instead of kind of making it like, well, the first, I guess, weird thing that happens, right, when they first get there, and she's already in the place with the moving in the moving van, and they're already they're asking her like these questions, like, "What's wrong with you?" "Oh, your sister doesn't talk," and she's like talking shit about her, you know, a sensible sister. Like you're already in that situation, but she gets to the resort, and then Dan Stevens is already a freaky little weirdo. But there's nothing really to make you think that this is going to be like, you know, as freaky as it really ends up being. And then she goes into the bathroom, and there's somebody in the stall next to her that's making a bunch of noise, like kind of with their feet, like and then he leaves the stall. After that, the next thing you see that really freaks you out is somebody just throwing up. Like the woman throws up and then walks like a zombie back towards her, you know, towards her room. And it's like an escalation. I think that's kind of an intense escalation where you're like, hold up, she did what? Like,
very off-putting.
Yeah, that Astrid Fisby actress who a lot of us remember her from playing that mermaid in one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. She's like the only one that's like, yes, something weird is going on here. Like, why are these people walking like zombies and vomiting? Like, I don't.
Well, and there's just also that unsettling thing of just like, you know, him being so worried about the time, and it's sort of sort of like, well, you know, what's the deal? Like, and then anyone that knows that they're watching a horror movie, like, all right, so something's going on. Like, what is this going to be about?
Yeah.
But that leads to that
environment too, like the doctor, she's like, the doctor goes up to Gretchen. She's like, who are you? What are you doing here? I hadn't heard about you. And she's like, what do you mean you didn't hear about me?
Yeah,
like,
she's like,
why would you have heard about me?
Why would you have heard about me?
Well, but that leads to that amazing the biking scene.
Yeah.
Right. The
Which
biking
I also
scene with the hooded
wish
woman.
they would not have had in the trailer.
They should not have had it in the trailer because that's such a like, what? Because I mean, anyone that's ever kind of done that, like, you know, biked late at night or whatever, you know, you have like sort of like, is that? And then you're like, oh, there is someone. Oh man, like that, and that's like, that's crazy, and that's something that I don't think I've seen depicted in a movie. Even though there's like a lot of movies that have like, you know, people biking late at night or whatever, like I've never seen that specifically, and it's so well orchestrated, and like it's definitely like sets that mood of just, oh, something freaky is happening here, you know, like in such an elegant way that, again, I think you're right. I don't think you needed that in the trailer. I think that's,
and you also saw her. I wish you would have seen it maybe a little bit less, because you get a really good like picture of the Cuckoo lady chasing her when she gets to the emergency room. Like it's like, oh, the door gets open, turn around, and she's gone. But I feel like you see her a little bit too much.
Like you should, like they should have done an alien thing, right? Like,
I think the lover's nest scene
Aliens
maybe should have been where you full on see her for the first time.
But that's also, and we've talked about that, especially when we cover newer horror movies, it is harder to do that now because we have certain expectations of a genre, and I think that's something that also funny. Sure, and that also means there's a certain amount of trust you have to have with the audience that is hard to build for an unknown, original IP.
That does make sense, especially if you're getting studio notes. I don't know. This movie did not seem like it was really getting a whole lot of notes, but
the studio notes was pretty freaky.
Yeah. Sidebar: I didn't see this movie. I don't really think I want to see. I mean, it's not high up on my list at all, but I listened to a podcast. I'm pretty sure it was Boogeyman, where the writer-director said they like painstakingly, both Jaws and Alien, they like timestamps of the movie they studied, an amount of screen time that the monsters had that they studied, and they tried to really apply that to their movie. So that I was like, oh, that's cool, that's interesting, because you don't want a monster, you don't want your bad guy to be overexposed or seen too early.
Look at these Jurassic Park sequels. They made dinosaurs boring because they're always on screen now.
There are so many of those movies, and there's one good one. I'm shocked that they're still making them.
Speaking truth to power over here.
And I think that there's a thing when it comes to like lower budget horror, right? Where it's like they didn't have a million different like prosthetics and stuff that really made like what makes the Cuckoo Lady kind of scary is just kind of the gait and her eyes and like the little bit of prosthetics they put on, so it looks deeply human, but also has this thing that's like kind of uncanny valley about the whole thing.
Also, the little neck zoom ins, pretty creepy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, there's a whole bunch of different things, from the screeching. I think really does a good job when everything kind of keep like what the fuck is happening, and then whatever the last line is, it repeats like 3 times. Like that kind of makes the whole thing scarier, I think. Definitely just seeing the process of dropping the liquid into whatever it is to impregnate like there's a whole bunch of different things that make it scary.
I think I know what it is.
Well, no, but like they had like a name. They had like a name for what they called.
Did. Yes, they did. Sure, they did.
And the sperm that she drops out of her neck. Anyway, there's like a bunch of different like things that really make it like a freaky situation, but the woman, the creature is almost on the lesser side of what's actually creepy about it, except the fact that she has this gait and she has this, like this uncanny valley thing where they can't speak.
Well, and the sound, the shrieking sound is such a good sound design.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
And so much of it was in camera. Like,
I love that.
Rather than spending a bunch of money doing VFX, they tried to do both, like the shadows that the woman makes and the and that actual, like, what happens when she shrieks. They tried to do those both in camera, inspired by like German expressionist kind of stuff, and like
yeah.
I think it works, and I think that, again, that gives it that different feel that we were talking about, right? And I think that that's something that that can go 2 ways. That you can be heralded as the greatest new filmmaker for it, and can be like, I don't understand this, and I'm not going to watch it.
I mean, I truly do think this one will, as the years go on, like, I think this is a great midnight movie.
Yeah.
And I
throw bird poop at the screen, throw eggs,
throw bird
Rocky Horse.
People just get big bags of bird seed and they just throw it.
There it is. Well, but I think I think you're onto something, because I think this is definitely the kind of movie that folks are going to tell.
Bring your flutes.
I think it's one of those movies that people will tell other people about, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I heard that was good. I'll watch that." And they're like, "Oh, that was awesome!" Like it, but it's going to be a word of mouth thing, and I think it would have actually gotten over if it had a wider release that had some support behind it. I think it would have gotten over, and that's why
another movie seems so more important.
I know, it's so disappointing.
But
I mean, it's Canopy right now.
Yeah.
Micah Monroe was in Longlegs. Now she's worked with Dan Stevens in The Guest.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fitting. I'm like, oh man.
But there's like, I feel like this guy's gonna come out with whatever next movie he does.
I can't wait.
Yeah, whatever next movie he does.
Freaky deaky.
After being established, right? Like after being an established director, like maybe whatever else he comes up with, his next movie, right? More people are going to be talking about it, and then more people are going to go back and see this one, because now it's so easy to watch just on Hulu.
Does he run around with
Christina? Have you guys both seen his first
I've not. But hearing it described, that sounds awesome.
A lot of my friends have 3.5 plus stars on that one. So
Okay.
I will be checking that out soon. And it's like 75 minutes.
Oh, you're talking my language now.
Oh, that's perfect for Coney. He loves short movies.
Well, because it's one of those movies.
Anything under 90 minutes is great.
It's the best.
Make it cool, like you make it as a thesis film that ends up becoming more than a thesis film. You build on it after that, and then you put it in all these different like that's a very common thing that directors do now, where it's like that's their their festival circuit film.
Right, because you gotta it's like your introduction, your business card almost, right? And then if you're lucky, you get
and time costs money. And if you're a amateur filmmaker, it's a lot easier to make a 75-minute movie than a 100-minute movie.
Yeah,
and that's why you got everyone like going to see Corley's first movie, right? You know, that's very real. Which Phil, have you still not seen it, by the way?
Which one?
The Substance.
Okay, no, I haven't yet because
the name of your show.
I'm harboring a grudge against the fine people at Mubi. So many of my friends that are critics or people with larger platforms got really nice goodie bags and had promo tie-ins. And here I am. I've got a show for the last 6-7 years called The Substance. Didn't even get a DM. So it looks amazing, and I love that. A crazy splatter genre movie got nominated for Best Picture. I think that's incredible.
I love a good niche
grudge.
One day. That's a very niche grudge. And I love a good niche grudge.
They should have just at least mailed you a tooth.
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
If your show is that would be like if there was a show called Protonic Reversal and they were like, oh, holler at your boy, what's going on? Like, come on.
And if you want, I don't know. I'm being a little facetious, but I'm sure I'll see it one day and love it. It looks great.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Yeah. I thought we got a good episode on it too. I think. But whatever.
Wait,
3 years after everyone else did, but.
So I grabbed a clip of the director talking about this movie, and he's a freaky little weirdo.
He is. I was going to ask him, he wears that pilgrim hat. Does he wear that around a lot? Okay, because
his letterbox photo is wild.
Okay,
in
this he's wearing a little beanie. He's always wearing a hat. He's bald.
He had the pilgrim, like the Walker looking hat.
It's only a Walker hat. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I think that is one of the first things I thought of with that hat too, where it's like the Walker.
You know what?
Yeah.
Peter Weller isn't using it. Why not?
But this is So this is him talking about the location, and I thought it was really interesting. The location they found for the hotel is like an military installation that they found.
And the movie has also a very 80s vibe.
Interesting,
mostly because of this hotel and the medical center also, that kind of doors and the hotel seems like like an old place, something that was built in the 70s or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Where did you find it?
So that doesn't exist. None of these places exist. But we found a British army base at the Belgian border, I think. Was it the Dutch border? I'm not sure. In Germany. And this was like a small village or a small town. Like 60,000 soldiers used to work there. It wasn't like tanks and planes, but like administrative. And they lived there with their families. So they had suburbs there. They had churches, supermarkets, schools. We shot most of the treatment center scenes in an old high school. And this place got abandoned like 15 years ago or something. And they just fenced it off. Mm. And then now there's like a security patrol in it, but nothing else. There's just wild boars and deers, and the nature's taking it back. And that is an amazing place because it looks like from a fairy tale, and the architecture you can't really place, you don't know when it's from, where it's from. It's really weird. And then we went into that big hall, which used to be like a ballroom or something for the military. And it just, like, all the patina was on the walls already. The desk wasn't there, right? Nothing interior wasn't there, but there was the wood paneling and everything. And it's just like, it felt like The Shining. And I stepped in there and it was massive, so big. I was like, oh, we have to shoot here. And Dario, the production designer, was like with me, and he was like, "Oh, this place is falling apart." And I'm like, "Well, that's great. We don't have to do anything. We can like pretend it's like that hotel from the '60s."
And it works that way.
Yeah.
Oh, really.
Yeah.
And about the way you directed the movie, it feels more with conscious references than your previous work. You know, the very first shot.
Yeah.
For the movie, it's already a love letter to expressionism. You know.
Yeah.
With the huge shadow.
Yeah.
How come?
Well, I thought like German horror, you know, that we had to have to do something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the famous Dracula going down the stairs, right, with the railing, the shadow. I think that's where the idea came from, but I actually disagree a little bit. I feel like I think certain things became more concrete. Figuring this story out and, you know, writing the shot list. But actually this time around, I had like way less concrete, you know, examples, to discuss with our cinematographer, Paul Fowles, in terms of like how to shoot a scene or maybe what to quote or what to pay homage to, than in Loose. I think we had more things there. But I think this story still feels more concrete. But I think the thing is just that I don't remember what I put in there. Like it's just sort of was in the back of my mind. And, you know, sometimes because somebody else actually pointed out that expressionistic, opening. And I was like, oh yeah.
It's a great location. And you kind of got to have a great location to do something like this, you know, good example.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. Bad Times at El Royale. You know, I mean, I thought that was like, if they didn't have that location, that movie.
It feels scrappy. Like,
yeah.
I think that I would have liked it less if it was a more polished, fancier location. Like, it really is perfect kind of for the whole vibe.
It's funny because
compared to The Shining, which I think is apt.
Sure. And like, so, all right. So as any alert listeners of the show know, we're going on a U.S. tour shortly in a few weeks. And so you have to book all your lodging, right? Or if you are smart, you'll do it ahead of time. So be like, oh, we need a place to crash, you know. But because of that, you read lots of reviews, like on Expedia or Booking.com or whatever. And like people will always be like, oh, you know, it's not updated. You know, it's not. And it's sort of like, well, those are like, means it's got character. It means it actually doesn't look like a frickin' IKEA. And I like that. Personally,
as long as it's clean and functional.
Well, yeah, within reason. Let's put it this way. But like, it is funny that's such a, you know, you draw a distinction, right? Like in the same way that, you know, if there's a movie reviewer that you really despise and he pans a movie, you're like, all right, I got to see that now. You know,
yeah. I mean,
although I don't know if you know, maybe they would be, the Expedia reviewers would be correct about the Dan Stevens Hotel. I don't know, but
Expedia.com. Well, also too, you gotta realize that when a film takes place in some isolated retreat of some sort, you know, shit's gonna be getting weird real quick. You know, like
by the way, I didn't know they changed the Trivago guy like a couple times. That's how out of it I am. I was like, what? I thought, what happened to the other guy?
Dare they?
That like everyone was like, that guy's hot, and it's like, oh, okay, well, good for him. Anyway,
that's the guy that's going to lure you to your death. You know,
right,
there you
exactly. What if Dan Stevens did a Trivago ad as a tie-in to Cuckoo?
Well, remember that.
That's cheating. Hire me for PR for Cuckoo. You
remember that episode of the Cabinet of Curiosities he did on Netflix?
And he plays the little flute at the end of it. Sorry, Christina.
All on grow. Like he played like a weird. He had a weird like European accent where his hair was bleached.
It was the segment.
I've only seen 2 or 3 of those. I need to finish them.
He actually did the best one.
So it's the segment is the one that's directed by the director of A Girl Walks Home at Night, which I love. That's the what is that? Anna Lily Amirpour. That's her segment. And I agree. That was one of my favorites.
What was the plot? The premise?
Garfunkel was which one's Garfunkel? Oh, I forgot what the actor's name is, but one of the girls from Garfunkel and Oates feels ugly, and she
yeah. I watched that one.
And she signs up for like a skincare
Oh, Dan Stevens was the TV
and the
guy,
infomercial
right?
like is talking to her.
Yeah. I
You don't
saw
have
that.
to go
Okay.
under the knife.
That was
to
a
achieve
good one.
perfection.
That was a good one.
I like the well, good question right now, but the Panos Cosmatos one was the other one, the viewing.
Yeah.
Is that the body?
Again, Dan Stevens doing weird shit. Like,
yeah. But they missed an opportunity to not have him do a fake hotel commercial as a promo for this movie. That would have been
no, as his character too. That'd be funny.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's literally what
I know.
Is this microphone on? What's going on? What's happening? Anyway.
No, but there's
Thank
something
you.
there's something off-putting a little bit when you're thrown into a situation where, like, especially with your family, right? They all know this guy. They know this guy well at this point. They literally like your father, which worst father of the year. I think we can all.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
Worse
over and over and over.
But he met his new wife, and he clearly wants to just leave this American family in America, right? Like, and just he's off now doing his own thing. And they know each other from whatever happened the first time, where the Beth gets impregnated or whatever there, and has the kid, but obviously she doesn't know that part yet. But like when you're with your family and your family knows somebody and they clearly know them, but aren't telling you the whole story of how they met, or like aren't telling you the story of how they met isn't exactly I don't know.
How I Met Your Mother. Go ahead.
Well, and they have that weird interaction when they first get there.
Yeah.
Where they're like, our plans for this and you were conceived, and it was just weird.
Yeah. It's like, why did you say that?
Yeah.
Like what?
Also,
Yeah.
I forgot. I've seen this movie a
Weird.
handful of times. I don't think of this movie like Jessica Henwick is far down on the list. No disrespect at all, but every time I watch this movie, I'm like, oh yeah, Jessica Henwick, because I loved Matrix Resurrections, and I was like, anything she's in, give me more of her. And every time I see this, I'm like, oh yeah, she's in this.
That's the one that came out. Which one is that? That's the
Matrix,
one that came
the fourth
out recently.
one. Yeah,
the one that came out a couple years ago.
Yes. Yeah. Unfortunately, on Max the same day, but it was during the pandemic.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's. But like, I like from the very beginning, you get these different. I mean, the father's clearly like negligent and does not want his old daughter. He's like, I'm into my new daughter.
Father of the year over there. Yeah, exactly.
But then also he clearly doesn't get along with the daughter. Doesn't talk, and you learn that from her being like, yeah, I don't know, there's something wrong with her. She can't talk. And the new wife, Beth or whatever, she doesn't get along with. So it's like from the very beginning, you're kind of thrown into just as much of not just as much, but like a confusing situation, just as Hunter Schafer's character is, as like an audience cipher. And they met in the very few lines, they kind of make that very clear to you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's pretty elegantly done. I mean, there's and again, this is another one. Runtime on this isn't crazy long. I think it's like 100 minutes or something, right? I mean,
something like that.
So, and I feel like there was some criticism that it's like a bit of a race to the end at the end of it, which
I don't even know about that. I really enjoy the and we haven't even talked about some of these side characters, some of the non-leads. The detective character in Dan Stevens' shootout is fantastic. I love it.
I like the detective character.
Dan Stevens
couldn't trust him
facing off while Hunter Schafer and
is holding her. And they're like,
they're
like, oh god, what are we doing?
Really
Shoot her?
good scenes that go together.
There's a Dan Stevens line where he's talking about this movie that I really liked, where he's like, he was like explaining like, oh well, there's a bunch of different kinds of like German guys. Everybody knows German guys. Like these are a bunch of different. What makes it really work? These are different types of German guys, and I was like, okay, I don't know what you mean by that, but all right. Like he didn't expound on it or anything.
Well, what's the? There was some love in the comments for the Ed character. Which I think she's like a French access or something. Was that? Did you say he was a mermaid? Is that what you?
Oh, she was. Yeah, the girl. Yeah, Astrid Frisbee. Yeah, the dark haired girl.
I only saw one of those Pirates of the Caribbean
that escapes.
Movies. It was enough.
Hunter Schafer.
That she's trying to like run away with.
Yeah. That's a good character. I mean,
she's been around forever.
Yeah.
And the other girl that she works with at the front desk, like,
right,
I liked everybody.
Yeah.
But then you see people randomly walking like zombies and throwing up, and you're like, "Sir, ma'am, what's
happening right now?"
Yeah, but then
Herr Koenig, what's going on here? Explain yourself.
Yeah.
No, but like the
I
first,
thought all weird shit goes on at night.
the first time you see the lady throw up, right? The lady that's working like Bridget or whatever that's working at the front desk is like, oh, that happens sometimes.
Yeah, she's like, that's not out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
And she's
water contaminated.
throwing up all
be
into, like,
worried.
throwing up all into the cooler or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, and the drinking sounds when she's like pounding that soda.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
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 Vomitor.
It's like a classic though. It's a classic zombie.
ASMR.
Like a lot of times zombie bit where you kind of just see like whatever the fuck happens, and then you see the person kind of wandering off, and it's like, ma'am, can I help you or whatever, and the person just doesn't answer it, and there's just something your brain inherently does the creep thing where it's like
it's not gonna nothing good's gonna happen next. Exactly. Nothing good. Nah, but I think that's the vibiness of it. Right, and that's all that works very well for me. I think there's a very good establishment of mood, and there's a lot of movies that like try to do that and they don't, and that's like sad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's just like
I
know what you're trying to do. But.
You generally feel the vibes are actually off in this movie, and that's really good.
Right, exactly.
It's like,
Hair Cody, you are scaring the hose. The vibes are off.
Well, once the vomiting starts, the vibes are most certainly off. I mean, not since Triangle of Sadness has vomiting played a more important part in that picture.
By the way, that's why I never do cruise ships, because always time the food, everyone ends up getting food poisoning somehow, and I'm like, nope, I'd rather stay inland.
That Astrid, this is what she looks like when she's like on the red carpet. Actually, kind of so different from her character in the movie.
Yeah.
It was like cool with the leather jacket and the glasses, but I did not recognize that was her.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. I mean, she's got that. She's got that androgynous.
Yeah,
like really.
Also very European looking.
Yeah, very European.
But I think she's French, so it's perfect.
I think if she said something in her voice and it was like an American accent, I'd be like, okay, I don't like this. The vibes are off.
I don't know.
Different strokes for different folks, so to speak. But yeah. I guess she's born in Barcelona. She's like French, Spanish, and American.
No, she was great.
Yeah. I thought she was good. That was a good character.
There's also
someone for her to trust too. You know, like you can't trust any of these bitches here.
I like but then it's like I like that Dan Stevens says Dan Stevens has goons, like a bunch of different just goons. One of them is like the cop guy.
Oh
that, that's like the receptionist. The receptionist fiance or whatever. And then there's also like there's a guy that's just bald with a mustache, so you never really find out like that's just a goon that he has on his staff. Like, and then there's also
just a loose goon. Goon.
Yeah.
I feel like we need it's some Buffalo 66 energy in here.
And I like that they don't feel the need to really explain the goons. Like, like
not everybody needs their own Disney Plus streaming series. Sorry.
Although I would probably watch one. I would watch one.
You know what? And Cuckoo is on Disney Plus. So
we need a mini series of like how Eric
honestly, if there was a Cuckoo prequel series that was like 6 episodes, I'd watch it.
And it's like Newhart, and it's just centered around them running the hotel, and it's like a comedy.
Yeah,
but it's still
the
in
vibes
universe.
are still off.
Well,
because they still clean up the puke.
Yeah, they still have normal hotel jobs there.
Yeah, but they still got to do
they
the
still have
stuff.
to run it at the hotel.
But they still got to do the cuckoo egg thing, impregnation, whatever. But it's just that's a good idea.
Also,
exactly.
I think it's so interesting. Like, I don't want to think about this movie too much because it really is a vibe steal. But when you go like, to what end? Usually in horror movies, you have people who are like, it's a hurt people kind of thing, or a megalomaniacal plan. Or another thing that's so interesting about this movie is that Dan Stevens he's like, I'm a preservationist. Like, this is something that occurs, and I'm going to help orchestrate it happening. You're like, well, not everything that happens in nature is like helpful for all the other parts of nature. But
I would argue a lot of things that happen in nature are not helpful.
We're bringing back that wolf from Game of Thrones, like.
But also, like, how in the world did this like? How did the first preservationist stumble upon like? Because it is sort of supernatural in a way. Because
are there Dan Stevens characters, right? Like, is there somebody playing his role? Like, did he get that role from somebody else? That
I
was
would
like,
imagine so.
Like I'm a preservationist. This is the place that I've set up. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
mean,
because he says
he's
this
a
is an
socialist.
ancient.
I will say that.
He says this is
as,
an
as
ancient.
a dude, maybe not the character.
Well, no, but he says
Yeah.
this is an ancient creature. This is like
Yeah.
I am helping an ancient creature live on or something, and it's like,
Man, if they made anthology movies about other preservationists in other settings,
Oh man,
Let's,
could have franchise
let's
potential.
preserve the pink flamingo, man. It's worth it.
Well, no, but like imagine Cuckoo in other European countries and settings,
Yeah.
or in other continents, or like I mean, I'd watch.
this might be a hot take. This might be a hot take. I'd just let this creature die. I would not.
I know exactly, exactly.
Okay.
I would not do preservation.
You're practically
Let the
raping
detective
women to
shoot
let
it in the
this
head and be
thing-
done.
Yeah, you're practically raping women to keep this species alive anyway. So it's like
That you have to also hide and not let anybody know about.
Right.
Like,
But then they
Yeah.
said
don't think
literally
about it too
we
much.
just
But yeah,
we just let them into the wild, like because she asked at one point like to what end, and you know the detective Hans Land, no, that's not his name, but it sounded like but the detective is like, oh, I don't know, my role in this experiment stops here, and he's like, we just kind of let them into the wild, and it's like, all right, so is the
you're
is the
harming a
goal
lot
in
of
the end-
people to
Yeah.
no end.
right
Yeah.
to do this. Yeah,
Maybe-
exactly. Well,
yeah,
you need better motivation as a villain, pal.
but what I keep thinking about, and I was just over here like desperately trying to pull it off in time to do it, is that the Spider-Man and Sauron comic book theme where he's like, you can rewrite DNA in the fly and you're using it to turn people into dinosaurs. But with tech like that, you could cure cancer. But I don't want to cure cancer. I want to turn people into dinosaurs.
Exactly.
That's the motivation, right?
Like that. Like think of all the shit, all the good things that AI could do. AI could detect diseases and cancers a lot, but no, we're making stupid like videos about Trump being like buff and built, saving people from drowning or whatever. And I'm like,
Right.
or
the dumbest
pictures
thing
of
possible.
Elon sitting bedside by dying kids in a hospital. I'm like, you know, he don't spend time with his own kids. You think he's gonna spend time with some kid in a hospital? Stop.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's like whatever they're doing, they're not doing. He's not doing it for profit. He's not doing it like hell. He's probably losing money on it. I mean, maybe not, but like there's a whole thing with IVF where it's like women can't conceive, and it seems like there's something to do with men can't conceive, when men and women in a couple can't conceive, and then maybe like because the first guy that he says he did it with, or one of the first laying ceremonies, is that detective guy, and his wife dies. Not saying it's the first time they ever did it, because obviously it isn't. He's an ancient creature, but like one of the first ones we hear about is like the wife choked on her own vomit because they got in the way of one of them. So it's like I don't think they're doing this for like I don't know. Like it
kind of reminds me of the Octomom story where she was like, yeah, I just want 2 or 3 embryos, but then she gets impregnated with like what 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 different ones, and it's like that's about practice right there. But
Can
like,
we get an Octomom invoke drop, because that'd be a first.
Mom.
she's doing really good for herself too.
Dan Stevens is just like
the Octomom.
a little weirdo enthusiast. Somehow he came across this, thought it was interesting, and took it up. Maybe he was independently wealthy. It doesn't matter, but
So many things to think about.
It's just an interesting setup that
why
sticks with you
birds?
because it's so different.
Yeah.
So Phil, you hit on a great point, which it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It
I
really
literally
doesn't
don't care
matter
at all.
It doesn't bother me even a little bit.
What about hummingbirds? What about woodpeckers? Like, come on.
I would
And
also
part of that
be
is he's
here
got-
for another avian themed horror movie
Right, it's a
or
different
franchise.
It's a different bird this time, yeah. But like
it's woodpecker, and then they're just hitting their head against the wood like this over and over.
but it's like the panache and the charisma that both Dan Stevens and Hunter Schafer have, like, carry it, right? And that's the kind of thing where, like, again, I'm going to tie it back to Phantasm, right? You watch the Phantasm movies, and I feel like
so weird.
They're so strange, but like somehow like it works, and you're like, I don't understand how this works. If you break it down, it shouldn't work, but it does, and it sometimes it's like that, right?
Totally.
And that's one of the great things about genre films, is that when somebody can be like, oh yeah, Phantasm is cool, and it is cool.
Well, I'm also glad I watched them in my 30s and not in my teens or 20s. I would not have appreciated them,
dude. I appreciate the living hell out of them. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
okay.
I mean, but that said, it would be interesting to come at Phantasm as an adult. That's why it's like, you just watch them now. Whoa.
Yeah, I would have not vibed with them. They don't make any sense. I don't even know if I don't
make
love
any
them
sense at all.
But they are kind of cool, and the fact that they had those 2 guys in all those 5 movies over a long period of time. One of my friends who's an author. He wrote like by the time it's the 5th one, like this is like weirdo horror boyhood at a certain point. Well, because the 4th one has all those clips. Like it's just such a weird thing.
It's like remember when the ball did this, and it's like we saw that movie. Why are we seeing it right now? Like why are we doing? It's so like look, I could do a whole thing on Fantastic. Anyway, we're not. We're talking about Cuckoo, but I think that what I was getting at is that like the star power of both Dan Stevens and Hunter Schafer, who I was like less familiar with, like that's what works. And Hunter Schafer he's a cracking lead performer in this.
Yeah,
like I was blown away. And that's coming to someone that was very unfamiliar with her game.
Yeah, but give me more of both of them.
Yeah, it's great.
Sometimes I love being ahead of the game and for you people to get it. It's like whenever I bring up Dan Stevens, Forrest is like, okay, whatever. But now you get it though. Right, Forrest?
I get it. Have you seen the second movie where he's like a villain and it's like, all right.
You got to see The Guest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
That's so good.
A lot of fun.
It's too bad I don't do TV shows because Legion is so goddamn good.
Why?
Legion is so good.
That's basically a long movie.
It is. It's so
justice for Lenny. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say.
I've watched.
Was not resolved.
Legion. It was just long enough ago that it like kind of like left my.
It was such a like I can't believe they. It was like watching the Hannibal TV show, which was like, oh, this is on network television. Have they seen this?
Good.
Do they know what they have?
Legion was FX.
Like
Hannibal was crazy.
Yeah.
Hannibal was on NBC.
It was on NBC. Is anybody watching the show? That
the first 2 seasons of Hannibal were insane.
Dude,
so good.
Yeah, for real.
And I didn't watch them until long after. Anyway,
I was watching them in real time, and like I can't believe they are letting this show on the air, like on network and it was
crazy.
Why do y'all think I cosplay as Lenny a lot?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean,
chapter 6, feeling good dancing. Ooh, I got that outfit, and everyone's like, "Wear that again." Like, someone was like, "Christina, you were in your panties on stream, and you didn't even tell me." I'm like, "Have your notifications on when I'm going live, people." Okay.
And technically, you wear them all the time, but
yeah.
I guess there's a movie with there's a exorcism movie coming out with Al Pacino and Dan Stevens.
Oh heck yeah!
Whoa,
yeah!
I guess it's called The Ritual, and they just dropped the poster for it. It's another.
All right, I'm listening. Yeah,
he's working with all the greats. He worked with Robert De Niro.
Like in the movie I heard was terrible. I heard that movie that he was in with Robert De Niro was really bad.
Well, oh, you mean 0 Day Without? Yeah, but he did. He also another thing he did. He played John Dean, the little rat from Watergate too.
What are you, Richard Nixon?
Yeah.
All right, back to Cuckoo. I like that there's a kind of a sorrow, kind of resting sorrow that happens here that I think that you don't see a lot in modern horror. Like I think you a lot of times you'll see that kind of more with the humor side of things, but like there's some real human grief in this.
When Hunter is calling the voicemail to leave the messages, like that's some real stuff. And then when she gets a box of her mom's stuff and you hear it and hearing it back again, like that's some like real, like genuine emotions in this freaky little movie.
It sucks so much that the dad's like, it's technically still my house. And it's like, I hate this guy so fucking much. I hate that. The dad sucks so much of this. Every time it's like, all right, she's going to manage to get away from this situation maybe at the end. And the dad's like, I sold the house. And it's like, I hate you, bro. You're terrible.
Yeah, always calling like the last voicemails. I mean, I still have because my grandmother passed away, a few months ago. And I still.
We talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too. I mean,
yeah,
I kind of wish I would have saved more, frankly.
Yeah.
Just buried a friend this weekend.
But it
left a lot of voicemails.
For her character, she really, really preferred, like, her mom was favorite parent, clearly.
Yeah. Well, the dad seems like the dad just dropped her out. Like, it's kind of almost a reverse situation, it seems like, where the dad was like this European guy that left her at the mom's and disappeared and then went off and then did the Cuckoo situation, which is kind of the opposite, where this creature just kind of drops off a baby with, this couple and then runs away. Pretty much, but it feels like this is like that was his old family, and he wants to almost forget it, and it's like she's now imposing on his new family by even being there in the first place.
And that's like a lot of setup that in the hands of a lesser movie would just be like insufferable. Be like, I don't care. I don't care. And here it's done so well that you're just kind of like, oh wow, that sucks. Like she's having to deal with all this,
Well,
like,
they never really.
real.
They don't say it. It's like you have to piece together those
because moviegoers are usually caveat not idiots and can figure it out, right? And what I like about this, one of the things I like best about the movie is that that's where it's coming from, not the like. Hey,
there's pretty much
morons.
no exposition.
Yeah, like you don't need like a Vox explainer in the middle of it,
But I mean, it's almost like this cycle of this weird cycle of alienation, right? Where she feels completely alienated from her father's family with good reason, because he seems like he just, I would be alienated from that kind too. But like, she seems like she's imposing, so she treats the new daughter like that. And then you have that really like sad and kind of heartbreaking moment where the daughter's called the phone, not being able to piece together because it's the cuckoo child, like not fully able to piece together that, this is her mom and the mom died. And, so she calls the number.
So precious.
Yeah. So when she calls the number and leaves a message like, hey, I wish you would call my sister back because she's obviously sad. And she calls you whenever you're having a thing. And it's like, that's such a heartbreaking, like, and then she realizes in that moment, like, it doesn't matter if she's the cuckoo child. Well, she doesn't know that, but it doesn't matter.
The scene where they're signing to each other. Oh,
because there's
very good, very good.
Because the daughter didn't ask for this either, right? Like the daughter,
and she doesn't even know about it.
And you brought up something kind of important there, because I was thinking about it in terms of, her being Hunter Schafer being like, the Sigourney Weaver, the final girl, alien style, and then also having like the Newt proxy
alien style,
right? God damn it. But having like the Newt proxy, like I have to protect this child as well, but with the added thing of her being, integral to the part in a very different way, where it's like, no, this is like the entire plot hinges on this, but not in the way that you would think if you just saw this absent of context. Well, I thought that was very clever.
In the finale, it was done so well, like physically, because there's not a whole lot of dialogue, where the cuckoo mom is there coming after the little girl. Forget her name.
Yeah. That's why I didn't say it.
But then
her name is
Alma. Exactly.
Okay, got it.
So she's coming after Alma, and Hunter Schafer, to protect Alma, like unbeknownst to Alma, like puts the knife to her, like the back of her head, like, hey, like this is what you're coming for, like back up. And then Alma sees it, that whole like
she's like, I can't trust her.
She's threatening her to protect her, but then she sees that Hunter's got the knife to her head and runs away, and she has to earn her trust back, ultimately protecting her. And then the like spoilers, like that's my sister line, and it's so good.
Like the power dynamic shifts so quickly and suddenly, and like the understanding.
Like yo-yo.
Like it's. I found that to be like that's. It's
how
like
great is this scene? When I saw it in theaters, we all laughed so hard. So Dan Stevens doesn't believe that Hunter Schafer, that Gretchen killed her, but then when she throws the bloody wig out. And then the detective just starts cracking up.
Yeah, well, because
that was so weird and so.
He's gone full psycho too by the end there. Like I didn't really trust him.
Yeah,
when she throws up and he goes, "Not near, not near, not near."
Right, exactly. That's good too. Yeah, not to say that again. I was focusing on like the sorrow and tragedy of it. There's some very funny moments in this movie.
Yeah.
But they're all. But again, they're in the.
We're all entwined.
Well, and it's like the awkward laugh. Too. It's like that is hilarious, but like it's hilarious for multiple reasons, right? Yeah.
I don't know. There's like, but also the cuckoo lady is so easy to kill in the end. She realizes, like, she literally just puts the knife through its head and it's gone, and it's like, oh, I didn't like. Nobody bothered to say you could kill it that easy. Like,
a creature.
Yeah. I guess again that move that whole sequence, near the end was really, really good.
I just like the girl who played Alma, Mila, Lieu. The only other thing she's really been into is like there's a Artful Dodger BBC series that she's apparently a recurring character in. So there you go.
But like, imagine like if that hadn't worked, she would have been screwed. Like she takes the chance and she's like, "Oh, I bet if I just stabbed the cuckoo lady, That's it's over.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it turns out that might sort it right out.
Sort of.
Don't dream it's over.
Hey now.
The scream of the cuckoo. I do want to talk about that.
It's harrowing,
disorienting, right? Like,
yeah,
just
and it's meant to be disorienting, so
yeah,
it's successful.
But like the part where every single time that you hear the scream, whatever line it is repeats 3 times.
Yeah, like
the
little time loop.
Yeah. And then the way that's he there's like, because there's so many hints to what's going to happen throughout the movie that are kind of dispersed in, but he makes a comment about like, well, your skin is clearing, is your skin like fixing itself on its own, or are you going to be stuck forever in a time loop or something? And he like hints to that, and it's like shit. Yeah,
what's happening in this hotel? Like, what? It's real busy over here. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's I don't think it works at all if you don't have that. If you don't have that like horrific sound design of just like, oh my god, that sounds like something terrible is happening, for sure. Otherwise, you got to rely on the vomit, which is horrifying in a different way.
Yeah. I feel like every time it's like the vomit's so green and looking like pea soup, I'm like, Exorcist reference.
Yeah.
Whatever I ate yesterday reference.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think that it manages to be enthralling, right? And
Absolutely.
that's something that
holds up to viewings. I can personally, I've seen it. My viewing for this was my 3rd time, and I'm like, still slaps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of modern horror does not hold up to repeat viewings. If anything, it kind of falls apart a little bit. And I'm not saying that because I hate the genre. I just hate hackery.
Why do you hate horror, Conan?
I know, exactly. Put me on trial. Put me for the horror tribunal. But just a weird thing. The flute is weird. But like it works.
I just saw Forrest change. He stepped away for a second.
The flute is weird and currently on screen for those listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
But it, sure, within the logic of the movie, it works. It's like,
you're like, how did he learn that? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. We don't need it.
Doesn't matter.
We don't need a prequel movie explaining that. It's okay. Like we can do without it.
You'd be amazed
again,
how many people would want that.
Unless it's
if like the Predator
style
movies, they followed different preservationists in different settings.
That'd be cool.
Unwitting people came into the setting and then had to overcome it. I'd be there for that.
Or it's a Newhart style, just workplace drama, like comedy.
Sure.
That also involves
run in the resort. Let's go.
But yeah, I mean, it's wild that and like what exposition there is kind of almost played for comedy too.
Yeah,
it's just like, what is this guy? What? Like, like what? What?
It combines like folklore, I think, and like this whole like scientific mentality in such an interesting way, like and creature horror all in an interesting way, because I feel like the flute is very like German, like Pied Piper almost, you know what I mean? Like
the very old world.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course, the Pied Piper was the first thing you think of. I think you see a bloody flute, not a bloody flute, but just a regular flute. Bloody flute's a different movie.
Oi, get out of here with that bloody flute. You don't know what to do with that.
Jason Statham in Cuckoo. We're not going to do it.
Oi,
yeah.
He's like,
did you see?
It was supposed to be Tommy Shelby and Peaky Blinders for Killing Murphy came in.
Oi, I'm a preservationist then, ain't I?
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say The Preservationist is the name of that. Like...
The Preservationist. Dude, when that movie A Working Man came out, I laughed for a solid minute, and I could not explain to anyone I was with like why that was funny. I was like, "Look, it's a thing on the show. Like it's
I love so much the run he's on right now.
It's look, and anybody in that milieu would be lucky to be half as iconic. You know, the fact that we can slot him into any movie and ruin it.
No, I'm just imagining Hunter Schafer is stuck in the little like the pool area, kind of, that's like, you know, they set up as like a little nest, and he's like, "Boy, don't move."
Yeah.
It's a fucking cuckoo. Don't.
It's a cuckoo, then, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. But yeah, thankfully it is not, in fact, Jason Statham in this film as Dan Stevens, who does an excellent job.
We John Malkovich quit and we had to replace him. But nobody was
The studio wants it. I don't know. I mean, I think it's gonna be fine. They're practically 1 for 1, right?
Let me see.
Oh
those
no, you're
eggs.
thinking of Jason Robards. That's Jason Statham.
He's like, let me see those eggs, love.
All right.
Yeah, but I think like it's the mix of folklore. It's like the mix of this weird ancient folklore and science, and then like the creature feature or the like the creature style of it.
Yeah, it is
together.
kind of, if you had to put it in a genre, I guess it would be like a modern folklore or something.
Yeah.
But definitely like that old world, like almost like Germanic Eastern Bloc style folklore kind of thing.
Yeah.
But in a way that's not like, you don't have. Yeah, and you don't
it's
have,
original. It's not based on a fable. You don't watch the movie and go, "Oh, like there's the 10 poles of this." Like with Sinners, that rules. But they need to be invited in, like this or that, like the sun. Like when you watch Cuckoo, you're not looking for, like I know these rules or I know
all the
things
lore
to look for. You're just like, I don't know what's going on here at all, but I'm here for it.
and that's great.
I was watching a Ryan Coogler interview, and he's like, "Well, I was reading Salem's Lot, and I just thought, what if Salem's Lot?" But because he's very open about like his ideas for
inspirations.
I was reading Salem's Lot, and I was like, "What if Salem's Lot?" But the 1930s in the Mississippi Delta, and I just did that. And it was like,
I mean,
and that was one of the greatest movies of all time, apparently. So good for him.
And he had the biggest opening for an original R-rated movie in a very, very long time.
By the way, tune in Friday when we cover that movie because we have added it to the
wait.
docket. I'm very excited about that.
I'm gonna go see it again before that. I think
I'm seeing it
I
tomorrow.
would really like to see it again. If I didn't have 2 little kids, I would definitely. I'm gonna try, but we'll see.
Bring the kids. It's a family experience.
Bring the kids.
I
Hey,
hope
people
they
came.
support
When I saw Nosferatu, everyone brought their kids. No big deal.
I would take my kid to Sinners before Nosferatu, but yikes.
It's sort of like, really? You just really want to see. But then again, remember, that's how I saw RoboCop. That's how I saw like Total Recall.
I am hopefully seeing RoboCop in
My-
a week and a half or
my-
two.
my-
My dad just wanted to
grandfather-
see it. He wanted to see these movies. Here, come with me. Okay, what are we doing?
My grandfather would be sitting in his recliner watching Aliens, Nightmare on Elm Street, like gory horror movies, and I'd be 5 years old, watching along, like, oh, cool. And that's how I got desensitized to horror. People are like, "Are you insane?" I'm like, "Yes, I am."
Exposed to things very early on. That's how it is. But anyway. Letterboxd is a social media site for film lovers talk with and to each other about the films they love, maybe the films that they didn't love, maybe the films that they exclusively wanted to thirst post about Hunter Schafer and or Dan Stevens. And of course, it's a bottom-up democracy. Everyone gets to have their say. Everyone gets to chime and opine, not just the Siskel's and Eberts of the world. And, of course, all of this is best expressed succinctly as they are collected by yours truly weekly for us to present, react to, and have fun with here on the screen for the movie we're covering, which in this case, of course, is Cuckoo. Let's go ahead and roll them.
Go Cuckoo for Cocoa Bus.
If you think a 5'7" blonde woman in a trench coat screeching at you is scary, you've never worked in retail.
Oh. True.
Someone will throw up as well, probably.
Exactly. Yeah, depending how brunch went. Another innocent American soul tormented by the demons of Europe.
It's new world mindset, old world problems.
Exactly. This happened to me the last time I forgot my AirPods at home. Hard relatable.
Yeah. I got the cuckoo screams.
Yeah. Dan Stevens is acting like Willy Wonka if he was an American Psycho.
Oh my god, that is such a good one.
That is a really good poll.
That is really good.
He kind of looks like Gene Wilder when he gets like a curly like perm because
He
he's had
is
like
Wilder-esque, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Good day, sir.
I mean, he also like. I feel like as much as any character that's ever lived, like Willy Wonka in the Gene Wilder one, like is just the Pied Piper.
Yeah. He literally tried to
Totally.
murder those
Sure.
kids. We should cover that one too.
Oh yeah, we never have, huh? That would be a good one.
Yeah, I love Willy Wonka.
That's it. I'm getting a cunty little flute.
Play some hot cross buns, you know?
that would make this movie so much less scary.
We learned that on the recorder. It was so annoying.
If every single time you played it,
yeah, cap the movie, but replace the audio with hot cross buns.
Yeah.
By the way, that's it. I'm getting a cunty little flute is up there with Here Comes Glinda and her gay ass bubble.
Yeah. That's it. I'm getting a cunty little flute. I like in the subtitles for Cuckoo, they called it a recorder. They were like recorder sounds or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Recorders.
Well, recorders
Actually, recorders and flutes are not the
PTSD.
same instrument. So,
Exactly. They're
you
not.
know.
They're not. They're more annoying. They just sound
Yeah.
like high pitched
You're-
screaming flutes.
You're
That's
way
it.
more likely to
There's
hear
nothing
hot cross
elegant
buns
about
on-
the sound of a recorder.
You're way more likely to hear hot cross buns on one than the other.
Yeah.
I ordered one of those practice butterfly knives right after I watched this.
Yeah.
She's real lucky she had that butterfly knife that her dad, or I don't know, that she had it from wherever she had it.
Good butterfly knife representation in this film.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm trying to think of other good ones, but let her kiss girls and play bass.
I know. That's like the dream.
Oh, we didn't mention that. So on this viewing, I maybe thought of it before. When they're kissing immediately after they met, that cigarette is like right in her hair. And I was like, yo, that is. And it looked like a real cigarette too. And I was like, she's about to like burn this chick's hair right off.
That's
I
dangerous.
like that she's like, we just met, but you know, let's make out of this hotel. What else am I doing with my day?
I mean, hey. Bird was the word, I fear.
I'm talking about the
You can replace every single time the bird, like the lady runs with "bird is the word."
Yeah.
That's another way. Yeah, if you want to ruin the movie, yeah, you replace the flute with hot cross buns, and you put surfing bird over any of the running scenes.
Or every time the lady appears, instead of a screech, you hear it like you hear really quietly. And everybody heard. And it's like, no, run.
That would be like if you recut a trailer to be comedic. That's for something that's not comedic.
Yeah.
We're giving it away for free as per normal. I just really need to know where the hot Parisian chick went. We deserve an update.
Wait, did she not say it at the end of the movie? Or did they not say it? Because the end of the movie, she's in the car. She drives away with her.
Yeah.
That's her new family.
Someone didn't pay attention.
There's nothing more important than family.
That's an update. Exactly. We learned nothing from the Fast and Furious movies.
I would change the ending to this movie. She gets rescued by Vin Diesel, and he has like a gun. and he
like
blows
the
away.
end of The Player.
Yeah, but he blows away. He blows away Dan Stevens, and he's like, and then he says, "There's nothing more important than family." They all escape together.
Fantastic.
Oh God.
Hot damn, them women can scream.
I've heard crazier screams. I don't know.
What from how, Forrest? Dare to tell us?
Look. Those are the letterbox one-liners for for Cuckoo. Please follow the show on our letterbox HQ account at Movie Night Extra, where we're posting stuff of all the great movies that we cover as episodes of the show, attendant short form content, extra bits and pieces and ephemera, all on there. The Flacco bird over there, always Flacco. You can follow along with him. He is logging all the stuff that we do in the show and so much more as well. So follow along to see what the Flacco bird's up to. I'm the Flute Purveyor at Conan Neutron. Follow me for the Criterion Challenge, which I'm keeping pace with, even having gone across the world to go on tour. So, follow me along and chime and opine on there. Doing the highbrow, the midbrow, populous fare, all that good stuff. Hit me up. Christina, Dan Stevens' Weird Guy Rolls is at Christina on Letterboxd. And you definitely logged this one. I saw that. So her infrequent Letterboxd reviews.
And I logged Sinners. I'm going to log Thunderbolts, which has a 95% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
Whoa. Interesting. Okay.
That is unheard of.
All right. Yeah.
We are so back.
My expectations are really low. So, let's take of that what you will. But especially... Anyway, you know what? This is classic after party material. Adam Christina on Letterboxd. Phil, you are on Letterboxd as well.
Very simple. At Philip Marinello, 1 L and Philip.
So we will link in the show notes to
How
that.
How dare you be a 1L Philip?
Can't help it. Just spell.
Well,
it the right way.
You'd rather be a 0L Philip, but what can you do?
Let's hit it with the plugs first.
If you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and then hit the bell to get notified whenever we're streaming. And we'd humbly request that you watch the video to the end, because it helps us with the algorithm and helps more film fans to discover the show. We're also monetized. If you want to get your chat questions definitely read on stream, you can always send us a super chat, which will help us keep the show going. Every cent helps. If you're watching on Twitch, you can gift us a free sub on Amazon Prime with your Prime membership, but getting subs on Twitch is always appreciated, and it helps to follow us on there as well. We also have an audio feed, which is available wherever you download podcasts, if you prefer to listen to podcasts rather than watch the stream. That's updated usually the same day we stream, but watching on YouTube and Twitch is the best way to get the show first, live as it happens. If you want to support us with a monthly donation and get access to all of our after parties forever, which go patron only after we do them, you can become a patron at patreon.com/movie night extra. Link is in the description for that. It really helps us keep the show going since we do have some expenses to make this happen. We also have a Discord community. Link is in the description for that. We sometimes watch movies we cover on there. We get into conversations about everything from film to TV shows to related podcasts. We even have a Discord channel for memes. It's really fun on there. You can find us on all the social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, and Threads. You connect with us on all of those. Talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. Lastly, we recently made a TikTok at Movie Night Extra where we're putting up short-form clips from the episodes. Okay, passing this to Conan so he can tell you about his music and this week's Protonic Reversal. Conan, who's on Protonic this week?
That's right. The incredible Nina Nastasia. Let's get back to Protonic Reversal. There's a new Jolie Lade record, which is lovely. Looking forward to having her back. Alert listeners and viewers might remember that she had a cameo along with friend of the show Ray Vana in the Who Dares video for Conan Neutron: The Secret Friends. So Nina Nastasia, friend of the show and friend of the band, too, coming on this week. The Justin Foley from Austerity Program episode just went out to the general feed, and that's in there, as well as the Brian Giles from Red Fang episodes. All that's there. $1 a month, patreon.com/Protonic Reversal for advance access. I got 2 more before another break, of course, for tour. But check it out. Plenty of cool Protonic stuff on the back burner that will be coming this summer as well. But there's a few more episodes coming up. Should be good stuff. Of course, Conan Neutron: The Secret Friends. Going nuts with activity. We got back from Japan, as we articulated in the after party. Here's what we got coming up. We got a U.S. tour. We got New York, Boston, Providence. Washington, D.C., Boston, Providence, New York, Philadelphia, Youngstown, Detroit, Chicago, Minneapolis for Caterwaull, and then the whole Mountain West run, Sioux City, Rapid City, Casper, Missoula, Boise, Bend, Oregon, Seattle, Portland, Oakland, Los Angeles, San Diego, and Palmdale. Not exactly in that order, but come see us coast to coast. We're not doing the South until the fall, but come see us play.
Well, what do we? I mean,
it's 3 weeks. It's a lot. It's a lot of time. Jesus. It's a big country out there. We'll do it. We're gonna be there in the fall for sure. I don't know if it's gonna be specifically for your birthday, but we'll see. But come see us. Way of the Neutron, of course, out on all of your greater streaming platforms. neutronfriends.bandcamp.com if you want us to see any money at all, and you do. LP, CD, digital, etc., etc. There's 2 more videos coming. When? I don't know. Those ones are not in my power, so it's like they'll be there eventually, I guess. So people that only consume music in video format, I guess stay tuned. I don't know. I don't know.
Do people watch music videos anymore?
They do. People fucking love them, man. They're all about it.
I like the idea of someone being like, look, I can't watch the music without the video.
I feel like there are people like that, and I'm like, that is so not me, but like whatever. You know, I love doing the Who Dares video. That was good.
Streaming ruins everything.
There's a really cool cinematic idea for the Villain of Circumstance video that I hope comes to pass that is being done by friend of the show, former guest Rick Valentin of Post. So he's gonna be, he also did the Jilted Dragon video that features our dearly departed Icky the cat, who was attempting to kill me at almost the entire video, which is a classic video, but he's immortalized for forever. Of course, Caterwaul coming up 4 days in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Many bands. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great, folks. It is. I don't know why I said
Mr. Clit and the Pink Cigarettes. Now that's a cool name.
They're on tour with Mr. Fly, so it's the Mr. tour, right? Great. Love it. Loving it. Well, just like, what was it last year? We had
whores.
We had whores, intercourse, cunts, and like someone else all like on the same day.
Was it the witch? It was like some abortion, gay witch abortion.
Gay witch abortion, which I'm actually wearing a gay witch abortion shirt underneath there.
Nice.
Which I love because people don't know what to be offended or not, and then by the time
the transcript of this episode is going to be nuts.
Anyone reading it's going to basically look like this. So that's what's going on with me. Lots of that kind of stuff. Please, if you haven't already picked up a digital copy of Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends and you like the band, please do so, and or just share it around. It's out in the world. It was surprising to me how well some of the songs did in Japan. It was but in a good way, the good kind of surprise, not the bad kind of surprise. Not the like, oh shoot, something auto billed and my bank account's empty. Not like that. It was the good kind of surprise. That's a very specific thing to bring up, but that happened to me lately too. And I was like, oh my God, I have like no money, but the phone bill's paid, so that's good. All right, hey-o. So that's what I got going on, Christina. What's happening in your world?
So my streaming schedule has changed. I'm doing overnight streams with great success, surprisingly. I don't know what's going on, but like I'll be getting like 4 or 5 raids a night, getting close to sub goals. People love my time schedule, apparently. I'm like, oh, cool.
Philip, are you understanding these sentences or no?
I mean, your plugs and hers, I'm just going like, hey, I'm very happy.
Normally you get raids at night and it's not a good thing, but in this case it is. Yeah,
that's the beauty of Twitch. We've been covering the news, doing watch parties. The Backstreet Boys performed at Stagecoach, which is like another festival. T-Pain was there, so I found out they were performing. I'm like, well, I gotta do a concert for my community, and I did it. I'm still sore from 2 nights ago.
Stagecoach is
it's like a 3-day festival. Tommy James and the Shondells were there. I saw that because they were on the front page of Twitch, and I was like, I love Tommy James and the Shondells. Sammy Hagar performed.
That's like Coachella Valley, right? That's like
yeah.
Well, here's why I bring that up. Friend of the show, Jason Miles, when he was before This Is Revolution really took off, that's one of the things that he worked. He worked that festival for a couple of years. So
nice.
I know it. Yeah.
Right now he's doing a show called Who Gets to Say the N-Word.
Don't tell Ethan Klein. He'll get very offended by that.
It's a show where almost everybody loses. Anyway.
Yeah.
What else you got? Sorry.
So yeah, but having fun with the new schedule. I mean, just gotta figure out a really decent sleep schedule. I streamed for 12 hours because we got a huge.
That's too much for me.
Hey, I got my one. I'm good.
I'm also about to die soon, so
we still been watching Dark Shadows. People come in my chat, they're like, I see Dark Shadows, I follow, I stay tuned. I'm like, hell yeah.
Oh yeah, Philip, you're familiar with Dark Shadows, the TV show?
I do know Dark Shadows. That's
there's like a lot of it, right? Like she's
only
been
6 years of it, not that much.
I didn't think there was.
Imagine if I tried watching General Hospital. That thing aired in 1963 and it's still going.
So she's been watching the whole series with her Discord community, which
that's cool.
I feel like you should do General. I feel like you should watch every season of General.
Well, it's hard to find. I mean, we've been watching some plot.
They're apparently made out of time. So.
Yeah. But Dark Shadows is one of those soap operas where it's like rare to find all the episodes. It's been bouncing around streaming platforms, but now it's on Tubi, and you can stream stuff on Tubi.
Tubi's the best.
Yeah, and we're back in 17 1897, some actors are in brown face playing Romani folks, aka the G slurs, and I'm like, is this weird? What's happening? We got the werewolf. We got David Selby back. He's Quinn Collins. He's finally speaking after just being a menacing ghost for like 100 episodes, possessing the kids. Like,
yo, it's me. I'm back. I'm possessing the kids.
I want to. Menacing Ghost is my rap name. So.
Yeah, it's just so weird seeing these kids like, "Hi, Maggie, can you come play with us? We're playing a little game with Quentin." I'm like,
yeah, kids creep me the fuck out when they're possessed kids.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Possessed kids are
high up on my list of things that I find creepy in movies.
And
or
of
even
course,
like Children of the Dam style, like that kind of.
Yeah. Also, too, every time.
Even the kid. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh yeah, he's not even possessed. He's just
yeah,
he
just
For you, Dave. Okay, but we're back in time.
Philip's sitting here like being like, why did I agree to be on this show anyway?
Fine. I'm learning all sorts of stuff.
Every time Barbas is thrown back in time, he is a vampire again because he was a vampire for 200 years before he came back. Remember, guys, if your soap opera is failing, bring vampires on, bring the supernatural on. It'll last for a few more years.
You know what's crazy is I have seen Dark Shadows, and I have seen all of Dark Shadows, and I forgot almost all of it. But hearing you just recount it in these weird promo bits is like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of plot, man. It was around a long time.
Timelines and
yeah.
With no resolution. And then we're going to start back from the beginning because they even had the episodes before Barbas came on. When we're done.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Talk about commitment to the bit.
I figured out how
13 seasons left.
I figured out how to ruin Cuckoo in the easiest way possible. You ready?
Yeah. That's so stupid.
That movie premieres Tubi next. Yeah,
exactly. That's a straight to Tubi original. You got it. Yeah, exactly.
But the actress who plays Maggie and Josette and Rachel, Kitty Abshire, Kathleen Leigh Scott, and I've been messaging her, and she's like, "Oh, that's so sweet that more people
you gotta get some of them to come on your show."
I know.
Yeah.
Just don't talk about the Tim Burton movie
or this show.
Yeah.
Ask
them if they like Walk Hard.
A little fun fact. They did audio dramas after the show got canceled, and Dave Shelby named his son after Jameson Collins, Quinn's favorite nephew. And I'm like, cool. He loved Dark Shadows so much. He became a teen heartthrob, which is weird.
So if you heard all of that and you're like, I need to know more, tune in on Christina's stream as she... they should give you like, I don't know, like an award of some kind for finishing.
I'm in the top 7% of streamers on Twitch right now, so that's cool.
Wow.
Heck yeah.
All right. There you go.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Philip, what do you got for plugs?
So for me, the big thing is the Substance Podcast. We're on Instagram at The Substance Pod. I don't have an HQ letterbox page. I've thought about it. Maybe down the line I will. We've been going since 2018,
I should think about it
2019.
Too.
We're not exclusively film based, but if you love movies, we do a lot of those. They're called substantive cinema episodes. We've had on folks like Josh Larson from Film Spotting, Dan McCoy from The Flophouse. Recently had Romina Dugo, star of I Like Movies, which everybody should see.
That was
It
awesome.
Rules.
That was an awesome movie, and that was a great episode.
Our mutual friend Marta Georgievich. I've gotten really cool people on the movie shows, but then we also have just our regular subs. So our brand is The Substance. We talk to educators, authors, faith leaders, activists, people who are engaged in work of substance, and share good people doing good things.
You did that great episode with John Carroll Lynch.
I love him. Oh my god!
Everybody, he is a director. He's not just a great character actor. His first movie, Lucky, which was Harry Dean Stanton's final movie. Love that movie. Honored that he came on to talk to me, and very, very, very slowly working on something cool with him and his production team now. Kind of because of that episode. So
I loved him, especially when he was in American Horror Story. I had a feeling that his clown character had a backstory.
I watched half of the first season he was in before I talked to him, and that was a really great character.
Yeah. Let's see the clown. it was freaky. I'm not even like a person that's like scared of like.
He's like, I'm so dumb, I can't even kill myself, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
But
God,
to me,
that's
he's always either Norm Gunderson.
Yeah,
his role in Zodiac, and like both those are like all timers.
And he had a great story. He had some really good stories.
It's a good episode. That's the first one I ever heard from you, and I was like, "This is a good ass episode."
I always joke that my spiritual gift is networking, and I've got some really great, great folks who been willing to talk to me.
Kind of relate. It's weird.
Hard relatable.
So check it out. The Substance on. We are technically on YouTube. I found this cool little service that will rip the audio, and we've just got the logo on. But yeah, wherever you listen to podcasts, check it out.
Yeah, I really liked. I thought that I Like Movies was like one of my greatest discoveries of the Feast of Film 2024, and I was very excited. That was a really good episode as well.
I'm like legit homies now with Romina. We talk every now and then.
She seems like the coolest.
She's very cool.
Yeah, very cool. Anyway,
and I hooked her and Marta up there. Like they like FaceTime and talk regularly now.
Wow.
Canadian ladies who
all coming together. It's all tied together.
So you guys got to say, friend of the show, Marta Jovovich. We need to have her on for frickin' Frances Ha. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
We should totally do that because we talked about doing that for forever. We talked about doing that longer than we've been talking about doing. What are we doing?
Especially now that we have there's at least one co-host that didn't like Frances.
That's why we didn't do it because
you
didn't like it. That's like you don't have. Thank you, Phil. Thank you. What are you doing on Tuesdays and Fridays?
I feel like she have like because I loved that fucking movie.
Yeah, so it's like but like the rest of the show loves it, so maybe go pound sand. Anyway,
I might be actually like angry if someone was like shitting on it. I'd be like, you get out of here.
We had to tolerate some of the shit
that's what they call
other
good
movies
radio.
we all liked.
This is like it's like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. You attack Frances Ha, you're attacking all of us.
Yeah.
New York #1. Says, I don't know.
Vassar College #1.
Okay, hold on. We were ahead of schedule.
When you pick your feet in Poughkeepsie against one of us, you pick the feet in Poughkeepsie against all of us.
So does this this is live now? Is this coming out on your feed like super soon then?
Yeah,
right away.
Yeah, I put it up at the end of the.
Depends on how much he drinks in the after party.
So yeah, we just covered Fruitvale Station, Ryan Coogler.
Nice.
Super excited to watch that. Let me tell you for to listen to that for a number of reasons. Not the least of which is that I used to live very close to Ryan Coogler, and Fruitvale Station was my BART stop. And when that happened, that horrible tragedy happened, I was living in Oakland, and it was crazy. So
no, I had actually not seen that one. Like I knew it got great reviews. So watched that. Talked with a Chicago film critic who actually did the Roger Ebert interview with Coogler for Sinners recently. That was a great convo. And coming soonishly, we just had Panic Fest here in Kansas City, big genre festival, and I've got a lot of like short form interviews that I'm cobbling together with directors, critics. The highlight of that's going to be Joe Lynch. He was here, and that was a great time.
Hell yeah, that's great. Joe Lynch is awesome.
I was watching this interview with Ryan Coogler talk to like she was like this kind of interesting seeming like British interviewer or something, and she was like talking about like the Marxist implications of Sinners or something, and he was like kind of tuned out, like not really listening to her, and he's like, well, I'm from Oakland, and she clearly didn't know what he meant by that either, and it was like this conversation where the two people were going back and forth.
I will say one thing that everyone could agree on, that Chadwick Boseman would have been great in Sinners as well had he been available.
Yeah,
I feel like
old friend of mine.
I feel like Ryan Coogler and I know like a lot of the same people, and I've never explored that, but I've been a fan since Fruitvale Station. I think Creed is amazing. I would love to do Creed on this show. Even though we've only ever done Rocky Balboa, which is choosing chaos for sure.
Rocky Balboa is good.
Rocky Balboa's great. It's the most underrated movie in that freaking series, in my opinion.
Probably true. Other than, I will say, Creed 2 slaps.
Creed 2 is very good. But I think, but again, like
Creed 2 doing it again.
I'm just talking about underrated.
Underrated. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
But no, Rocky Balboa.
Rocky Balboa
I did not
so
think
good.
it was going to be good. Very good.
I
think there's only one bad Rocky movie, really.
There is, and that's one of the reasons why we'll never do the series. Because
Rocky 3?
About it.
No,
no, Rocky 3 is great. Come on. Yeah. It's a Rocky
3 is not a masterpiece, but they're all good to very good.
Even 4 is like jingoistic propaganda, but 5 is just like, why did they make this? And that's why his atonement was making Rocky Balboa, which is great. It slaps.
Yes. And then he should have won for Creed. Really
should have. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So, final thought. You got some final thoughts.
I mean, more original weirdo cinema, please.
Yeah, agreed. Christina, final thoughts.
Well, I will say what I said in my Letterboxd review. Neon really screwed the pooch by promoting Longlegs instead of Cuckoo, because this is the better movie to come out at that time.
Yeah, and fuck those guys that produced it, then jumped onto the Longlegs bandwagon as fast as they could.
Yeah,
those guys
so fickle. How dare you?
First of all, they don't know a masterpiece when they see it.
They were like, "Oh, we're just gonna use this movie that's really good as an in to do Longlegs," and it's like, "Come on, man."
It does Longlegs does feel like it should be good. It just isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never bothered to watch it because literally everybody that I trust for. Yeah.
Dumb. It's a pastiche of better movies. It's dumb.
Conan, final thoughts that aren't Longlegs related.
I was trying to keep it on topic too. Yeah, look, everybody is correct when they say that the performances in this are really great. Hunter Schafer is absolutely cracking as a very committed lead performer. Star power galore. Dan Stevens turns in an often hilarious and pleasingly unhinged vibe. And there's some great world building in this. It's got an atmospheric creepiness that I love, and it's deeply original. And I'm just going to echo Christina's sentiments that I don't know what the hell Neon was thinking, because this movie is far better than many of the things that came out last year. And it's a shame that there hasn't even been that much discussion about it. Is this the first ever podcast about Cuckoo? I don't know. Maybe.
Yes.
I searched and there were not many.
That's criminal, because this is a really interesting movie.
I
want to see them all incarcerated. All the podcasts. Put them in jail.
We made Christian popular. We're gonna make Cuckoo.
Yeah, it's the gulag.
Boom.
It's the gulag for movie podcasts.
Yeah.
First, we brought Zalowski to the forefront. Now we'll do Tilman Singer and his freaking Walker, not Texas Ranger, Walker, the movie Walker. with our beloved former guest Alex Cox. Everybody, thank you.
Wait, I'm excited.
We did have Alex Cox at the show. It was great.
Yeah, we had Alex Cox on the show, and I rewatched Walker for that, and was like, this shit slaps.
And we had Adam McKay on.
Yeah, that's right.
I did listen to that one.
Yeah, he's good, dude. I think I could have started a music podcast with him. I really think I could.
Michael Lehman.
I think
he was like,
he was like, yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah.
Well, we've had Tilman guy though being like diminutive. As like a because he's not very. It seems like he's not very tall. It seems like he's like 5'4". I feel like maybe that's why his hat collection.
That's why it's a big hat.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. Look,
because he also wears the hats with like the baseball caps with the wide brim.
Oh right.
He wears a lot of those and like the beanie.
Man likes hats. I look terrible in hats, so it's not really an option for me. But
I look okay in hats. They have to be like pimp hats, but other than that, I'm good.
Anyway, great movie. Great to cover it, and great conversation, Phil. Thank you so much for being on, man. It's
my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you on. It was a big build up for this. You had a lot of choices, and you chose Cuckoo, and I appreciate that about you.
Chose wisely.